That's the much we can take on Hangout, but the discussion continues with the Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Mude Yusuf. I spoke with him earlier on the issue at hand, beginning with his thoughts on if tackling corruption could lead to economic recovery and boosts.
Well, fighting corruption is very necessary to move the economy forward. Because for many years, corruption has been one of the major challenges militating against the progress of this economy. Resources have been mismanaged. There is no sufficient investment in infrastructure. And all the key institutions of government are not as effective as they should be. All these are evidence or manifestation or effects of the massive corruption that we have had over the years. So fighting corruption is necessary in order to transform the economy. But the truth is that it is not sufficient. It can only complement other efforts, other policies. If you fight corruption and you don't have the right kind of economic policy framework to stimulate investment, to ensure that investors have confidence, to remove uncertainty in the economy, then you may not achieve the right kind of outcome in terms of the progress in the economy. So what is happening now is that there's a lot of emphasis on fighting corruption, which is good on its own, but there is a lot of shortcoming in the area of coming up with the right kind of economic policy framework, the right kind of sectoral policy framework that could actually stimulate investment and create the right kind of environment for investors to have the kind of confidence that they need to have in order to make investment here.
Are you saying there's no meeting point, between the efforts to tackle corruption, rid the nation of corruption, and creating a boost in the economy of Nigeria?
No, it has to be complementary. Fighting corruption and creating the right kind of economic policy framework complement each other. And they are not mutually exclusive. We can have the two together. If you fight corruption, yes, that is good for efficiency in resource allocation. Because if the resource allocation processes are efficient, if you have value for money in government expenditure, it is good for the economy. But that on its own cannot give us the desired outcome. Because you need private sector investment to play a major part in this economy.
The government is also passionate, about foreign exchange. So we've seen a couple of foreign exchange policies. Are you saying these are not also in the right path?
The foreign exchange policy as we have it today, unfortunately and regrettably, is counterproductive. Because it so concentrates on the demand side to the neglect of the supply side. Because the foreign exchange that services this economy, it's not just the foreign exchange from crude oil. We also have autonomous sources of foreign exchange. We have sources like the export proceeds. We have diaspora remittances. We have foreign exchange flows from multinational companies, from donor agencies, and so on and so forth. If you don't create the right kind of foreign exchange window that will allow such supply to come into the system, you will strangulate the economy. Because what we are seeing now is that there's a lot of pressure to move money out of the country, to move foreign exchange out of the country, but there is no measure to encourage the inflow of foreign exchange.
Are you saying that the government should just allow foreign exchange to just exist on its own without control? Is that what you're saying?
No economy can exist in isolation of others. Over the years, we need to recognize that the Nigerian economy has evolved, and our integration into the global economy has increased over time. We cannot suddenly disconnect ourselves from the global economy. It is not possible. No economy can exist without liquidity in its foreign exchange market. One of the biggest issues that the foreign exchange policy of the CBN has caused is that it has caused a liquidity crisis in the foreign exchange market.
Since you don't see the needed results from the existing foreign exchange policy, what do you think should be the way to go, if we want a quick recovery, when it comes to foreign exchange policies?
The right policy is to adopt a flexible exchange rate regime. It's not about devaluation. It's about adopting a flexible regime. That is the model that can suit the current condition. If the supply is dropping, the exchange rate will adjust upwards. If the supply is increasing, there will be appreciation in the exchange rate. And secondly, you have to relax the autonomous window so that export proceeds can come in freely, diaspora remittances can come in freely, funds from multinational companies and so can come in freely into the autonomous market. And it should be able to be traded freely. If that happens, all the tension that we are going through, at least will be moderated. We may not be able to go back to where we were when oil price was $150 to the dollar. But certainly we will not be facing the kind of issues we are facing now.
Now, let's look at the macro economy. More than just the foreign exchange policies of the government. What do you think can be done to cushion some of this effect that is being experienced at the moment?
You see, it is difficult to make a proposition outside the context of the foreign exchange regime, because the foreign exchange is a critically systemic variable. In other words, it's a variable that affects virtually all sectors of the economy. So you have to get it right in order to create the confidence you need for investors. Because if you talk of jobs, alleviation of poverty, the jobs will come from investors, it will come from the private sector. If your environment is such that it doesn't create the confidence, it's creating so much uncertainty and volatility, there will be no private investment. So we need to create the liquidity which I talked about so that investors can come in. And we need to also come up with policies that will show clear direction of where the government is going. For instance, look at the oil and gas sector. The government seems to still be holding on to the downstream oil sector. There's a major uncertainty there. You have queues today, it disappears tomorrow, it returns the following day, just because the government will not let go. These are things that the private sector can handle. Then you have the FX policy, and also all sorts of policies. So what we need is clarity of policy. Policies that are sustainable. Then we support it with the right kind of institutions. Because it's your policies and institutions that can create a lasting positive impact on the economy.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Yeah.
A passionate discussion with Dr. Yusuf there. We move from there and take your messages from Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, as well as the 5 most watched videos of last week.
Our top 5 videos for the past week begin with the comedy by the duo of Ali Baba and Benga Deinka as they cracked guests up with jokes about the current anti-corruption war of the federal government.
And you know these phone messages, you don't see the name full. I just saw DA. I said, oh, maybe it's from David. Until I checked my email and I saw.
All right, so we're going to take the next.
At number 4 is a video showing a suspected burglar as they got trapped while trying to gain entrance into a shop.
Get out of this place. Leave it. I'll wear it.
The drama that ensued at the Federal High Court as the self-acclaimed leader of the pro-Biafra protesters, Nnamdi Kanu, refused to allow the prison officer to take off his handcuffs, comes in at number 3. In second place is the video of students of the Yaba College of Technology protesting the death of their colleague, which they blamed on alleged unprofessional acts by the school's medical center.
They took her to FMC or what, I don't know. I don't know what they were saying, that they refused to attend to her because of money, that they needed 5,000 naira before they can attend to her.
But what would you like them to do to them?
Yeah, that has happened. And I think I would like to beg federal government, the people that train them in army school, to inculcate them, tell them that this is not what they ask them to go out and do.
Topping the chart is the victim of alleged cadet brutality as he recounts his ordeal.
That's it for this episode. Another current and trending topic will be up next time. I'm Amy Thompson.